Hi, welcome to Beloved Blackness. I'm Dr. B. Welcome to vlog 47. We've been talking over the past 4 weeks or so about the Beloved Blackness antidote to the stress, traumatic stress of living during this pandemic with COVID-19. And I use the acronym, I developed the acronym of H.U.G.S, with H being honesty, U being uplift, G being grieve, and now we're on S, on Soothe. And so if you've missed any of the previous ones, feel free to go back and look at those previous vlogs. And while I'm mentioning that, also subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll get an update via email each time that I post a new vlog. So when we think about Soothe, we're talking about when we're under traumatic stress or any periods of distress in our lives, and especially right now with the enduring trauma of the pandemic, we want to be sure that we are doing practices that are regulating our nervous system. So when we experience traumatic stress, our nervous systems go into fight, flight, or freeze. And so we have those experiences that physiologically the mind and the body are saying, activate, be on alert. And that creates a lot of imbalance in our systems. And so we want to be able to have and do practices which are soothing, which help to calm, comfort, reassure us and put us back into the balance that our minds and bodies and spirits long for and need. And so there's so many different ways to soothe, but I want to just mention some that, in alignment with who we are as people of African descent that we've done and our ancestors have done for generations. That includes dancing, drumming, singing, humming, even rocking. If you can think about like some of the your elders, if any of you went to churches where they started service and they just were humming and singing and they just would start rocking, that even the rocking can be a way of re-regulating our nervous system. Also, think about times where your big mama was like, go sit down somewhere and be still or be quiet. And so she knew there was wisdom in what big mama was saying, because she knew that by being still, that was giving your mind an opportunity to calm down, to get quiet, okay? And so right now, we're talking about the buzz is mindfulness meditation, but Big Mama knew that you needed to be still in order to know how to be able to make choices that were not just in alignment with your own personal values, but with the community's value, that you had a role, and in order to know what your role was, you needed to get still. So I want you to think over this next week, ways that you can soothe yourself, and ideally, personally, some ways, but also collectively, some ways. So it could be within your family that you all decide you want to do a little line dancing tonight, or it can be you decide you're going to call some friends up and you start singing some songs that really kind of help you remember how your ancestors got over. It could be some spirituals. It can be something that that's contemporary, that just kind of helps you to feel good and allows you to connect to your gratitude and your joy. And I want you to be intentional about cultivating some of those practices, because the more that we're able to soothe and regulate our nervous system while we're dealing with the trauma of the pandemic, the more that we can be available to live into and to be clear to hear who we are and then how we need to move in our lives. There's a quote by one of my favorite theologians, Reverend Howard Thurman, that I want to read to you. And he says, "There's something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true God you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, you will all of your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls." All right. And so I want you to meditate on that quote and think about all the different ways in which we're getting so many messages about how to be pulled in response to the trauma of the pandemic, especially all of the different acts of violence that we've also been reminded that we have perpetually been under, but also the terror of what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to my family, what's going to happen to my children, in the midst of all of the medical worries. And so we don't want to be pulled by those strings. We want to get connected to the genuine that's within. And that connection in and of itself can soothe us. And so I invite you over this next week to soothe. Find ways that you connect to ancestral practices and practices that help you to know that regulation, balance, rebalance is what you need and what you deserve to have. Until next week, I'm Dr. B.